In aviation, it is now an offense to fly a drone higher than 400 meters in restricted airspace, such as near an airport. That's part of the Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority regulations on drone usage in Nigeria. Our next report takes a look at the impact of drone activities in the aviation industry.
A decade ago, drones, as they are popularly called, were virtually unknown, but these devices have become popular in recent years. With the name Unmanned Aerial Vehicle or Remotely Pilot Aircraft Systems, an expert explains just what this means.
The name drone is actually from a French usage, from the French military basically. But globally today, internationally today, the ICAO, which is the International Civil Aviation Organization, actually have a name for it, which is RPAS, Remotely Piloted Aircraft Systems.
Drones have their origins mostly in military applications, but their usage is rapidly expanding to commercial, scientific, and recreational purposes. In the aviation industry, drones are posing a risk to commercial flights. The disruptions at Heathrow Airport in early January 2019 and lately at an American airport is now a cause for concern.
They have metals, they have batteries and all that, so the impact to the aircraft is going to be much more severe than birds impacting aircraft. So there's high danger to safety and security. I'm not going to take safety alone, safety and security of the airspace. If there's no controlled way and manner in which these drones, it has to be structured. There has to be legislation, there has to be frameworks, guidelines and all that to enable for safe operation of drones.
While drones can be amazing and could be fun to fly, the operator is actually in control of a real mini aircraft that is regulated by the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority.
The regulations are for the commercial activities of remotely piloted aircraft systems, and it goes as far as operating beyond line of sight, operating within line of sight, and operating the qualifications of pilots that are supposed to be operating it.
Aviation authorities around the world are adding more regulations as more people own drones. This is to ensure that they are operated in a safe and useful manner, especially in close proximity to airports.
We're very strict about drones operating above 400 feet. 5 miles to the airport, there must be no drone activity. And if you're going to have a drone activity, you must allow the Civil Aviation Authorities to know when you're operating and what you're operating for.
Away from aviation, drones are fantastic photography and videography tools, given the opportunities to get shots that were just not possible a few years ago.
10 years ago, we could use, if we want to get an area shot, if we want to get a high-angle shot, mostly you have to go for logistics. Like the breaking news now, if you really want to trace events as it goes, you usually get helicopter, the logistics, and the amount spent is a lot. So I'm pretty amazing that with a drone, you could get the same information, the same kind of shot. You get area shot, you can get a 360-degree shot of an event.
According to the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority guidelines, all drone users must be at least 16 years of age or older, must not fly across the border from or into another state, and should not be flown over the high seas without permission from air traffic authorities. Bukola Jo Kitumbi, Channels Television News.
And sports news is up next. Here's Ayotunde Balogun.
Many thanks, Millicent. Well, the final of the 9th Daniel Ogechi Akujobe Memorial Foundation Golf Tournament has been held at the golf section of the Kui Club 1938 in Lagos. According to the organizers, proceeds from this year's tournament will enable the foundation increase its scholarship roll to 60 students, boost its back-to-school and mentorship programs. Well, the organizers also confirmed that they are re-equipping and refurbishing an accident and trauma center, as well as expanding its empowerment initiative. Nigeria's civil defenders and defending champions ASL will take their battle for a place in the semi-final of the FIBA Africa Basketball League to Morocco. Civil defenders needed a late rally to force the Moroccan Giants to share off the spoils at 69 to 69 points in the first leg, of their quarter-final game at the Abuja National Stadium on Saturday. Civil defenders topped in the first, second and fourth quarter, while ASLE dominated the third quarter. Manchester City cruised back to the top of the English Premier League as they condemned strugglers Fulham to their 8th consecutive defeat. Southampton moved 5 points clear of the relegation zone as Pierre-Emile scored the only goal against Brighton. Burnley boosted their survival hopes by beating Wolverhampton Wanderers to end a run of 4 straight defeats. Huddersfield Town have been relegated as second-half goals from Luka Milivojevic and Patrick Van Aanholt earned Crystal Palace all 3 points. United rode their luck to beat Watford 2-1 in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first game since being appointed permanently in charge at Old Trafford. And that's a wrap on sports news. The news at 10 continues shortly.
2 persons have been killed as thousands of Palestinians rallied at the Israel-Gaza border to mark the first anniversary of a new wave of protests facing off against Israeli tanks and troops massed on the fortified frontier. Today's demonstrations tagged Great March of Return was met with more violence like previous protests. The protesters are calling for the lifting of a security blockade imposed by Israel and Egypt and for Palestinians to have the right to return to land from which their families fled or were forced to flee. And the main news again. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, today declared that there is no going back on its timeline for the completion of the governorship election in Rivers State. The Commission disclosed this after a meeting with stakeholders in Port Harcourt, the state capital. Well, that's News at 10 tonight. Many thanks for watching. I'm Millicent Walker. Have a good night.